Hello and welcome to another episode of the Steven and Andy Show, or the Andy and Steven Show. I'll be Steven Babb, and this is my partner Andy Chase. This show, we take a lot of sports topics. We kind of debate and talk about different avenues: Major League Baseball, the NBA, NFL, and today we'll even talk a little bit about the World Cup. We also have a segment that we like to call Winners and Losers. We take a sports topic and we kind of determine who's winning and who's losing out of that particular situation. So Andy, let's start with Kawhi Leonard. A lot of news about Kawhi and DeMar DeRozan today out there in the NBA.
A ton of news today. Kawhi Leonard just got traded to the Toronto Raptors for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poto, and a first-round pick. And the Spurs are sending Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to Toronto. This is such an interesting trade because everybody wanted to know where Kawhi was going. A lot of people thought the Raptors, that wasn't really where he was going to go, but then they just did the deal today, and Kawhi Leonard has already come out and said that he doesn't want to play there, and DeMar DeRozan has already come out and said that he doesn't want to play in San Antonio either. So I think this whole Kawhi Leonard situation has been a big mess, to be honest.
It has been, and these guys are getting paid tens of millions of dollars to play a game of basketball, a game that they're supposedly supposed to love. It's supposed to mean everything to them. There's even players that have said, money doesn't matter to me. The love of the game matters more than money. Kawhi Leonard's actually even said, the money isn't the main thing that's driving me in this. And honestly, I actually think that Toronto might actually come out and move Kawhi Leonard and trade him somewhere else for some more pieces, because why would you want somebody to come and is threatening to sit out a whole nother season on your bench when you could actually probably get something for him? And it's a rented contract. He's only got one more year left on his current deal.
I think they see it through this year because they've got two tough opponents in the East with Philadelphia and Boston. And I think with Kawhi, I think they could win the East and make it to the finals.
Especially since LeBron's not there. They're kind of nemesis over the past couple seasons.
So funny, they go out and get somebody who can finally guard LeBron when it's too late. I think that's so ironic. But I think Toronto keeps him this year, see how it goes. If he really shows that he doesn't want to be there, they move him at the end of the year. Well, he'll be a free agent, actually, so that won't even matter. But I think they see it through, and I think they try to make the finals with him.
Yeah, there's still some pieces out there. Jimmy Butler, I think, is still out there on the street.
He's big time out. He does not want to go back to Minnesota.
And that actually could be a trade-in move for Toronto to move Kawhi to Minnesota and get Jimmy Butler, because I actually think Jimmy Butler's a better player today than Kawhi. Kawhi sat out all last season. He's coming back from an injury. We actually don't even know how he's going to play and how he's going to perform. And Jimmy Butler is still in his prime, as is Kawhi, but Kawhi's got an attitude problem now. He's ruined his reputation around the league with all of this drama between him, Popovich, what's going on, what happened in San Antonio, him now coming out and saying he doesn't want to play in Toronto. It's like no one's actually going to really want him, I think, at the end of the day, except for maybe the Lakers. But he's even come out and said, I don't want to play second fiddle to LeBron James. It's just a mess. This whole situation is just drama.
It's funny, yeah, because Kawhi's reputation was always that quiet guy who was just going in, doing it for his teammates and winning games. But that has completely changed in this offseason. And now he's looked at as a guy who's just like, he's a diva. Now it seems like it.
It does.
And I don't know. Both teams are getting star caliber players. Both teams can benefit from this trade. So I think it was a good deal for Toronto and the Spurs.
All right, let's move from one star who supposedly doesn't care about money to another star in the NFL who is all about guaranteed money, and that's Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell, there's a lot to say about that guy. He just turned down a 5-year, $70 million deal and a $10 million guaranteed at signing. Now, I think that's really interesting because, to me, he's worth more than that. He wants to get paid not as a running back, but as an offensive weapon. And I completely agree. The dude has caught over 600 yards, receiving, in 3 years, 3 consecutive years. And then he's also rushed for over 1,200 yards. So the dude is an offensive weapon, to say the least.
He is, but I mean, he's on a team that's got Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, right? So you've got three strong offensive pieces, and you also have to pay the rest of the team money. And there is a salary cap in the NFL, and teams aren't going over it like you see in the NBA or even in Major League Baseball. And, guaranteed money just it doesn't happen. Matt Ryan, of course, just got the biggest guaranteed deal in the NFL history. But, Le'Veon Bell is not Matt Ryan, in my opinion. And he's a great running back. Yes, he offers a lot to the team. But you're also on a team with Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger. Like, you kind of have to fit into that system. And, I just don't see him getting this guaranteed money with the Steelers.
I just find it strange, though, that in 2015, the Bills gave LaShawn McCoy $18 million at signing. Last year, Devontae Freeman, $17 million at signing. This year, Jerick McKinnon, $11.7 million at signing. And you're going to offer Le'Veon Bell, who in my opinion is the most complete back in the league, $10 million? That's disgusting.
But you also have to look at games played. You want guaranteed money? Injuries are so prominent in the NFL. Why are you going to sit there and cash guaranteed money checks if you're not even guaranteed to be on the field for that long? Now, I understand the other players, there's some jealousy, but you also have to, you got to fit into your system, you got to fit in your team. And if you're that unhappy with what they're giving you, then play the market. See what other team is going to guarantee you, because it's not going to be probably much more than $10 million.
And that's exactly why he took the franchise tag this year, because that's a guaranteed $14.5 million. So he's going to take that. He's going to see what he can do next year in the free agency. But like you said, with games played, Le'Veon's only played one full season. The seasons that he's had tremendous numbers that I pointed out were all the seasons that he played, I think, 12 to 13 plus games. So it just goes to show availability is the best ability.
Absolutely.
And if you can't be healthy, it's just, you're not worth giving all that money to. But if you're going to give that money to LaShawn McCoy, who is more injury prone than Le'Veon Bell.
But you also have to look at the other weapons that the Bills had.
Not much.
Not much. So if you want to get a strong piece like LaShawn to come and play for you, you're going to have to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit, because there's not much else around him. No disrespect to the Bills, but in all honesty, he didn't have the pieces around him that Le'Veon would have in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But speaking of availability, that kind of brings us into our next subject. Terrell Owens and the availability that he's not willing to show to the Hall of Fame in Canton.
That situation is a whole mess. First, I think it's a mess because Terrell Owens was not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That was just uncalled for. The dude on the field, his contributions are more than worth a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they're going to give, like you said, Ray Lewis, a man who murdered someone.
Allegedly.
Oh, sorry.
There was blood all over him in his car. But it's allegedly. He got away with it.
And he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And Terrell Owens isn't. That is insane. I have some great Terrell Owens stats. He has the second most receiving yards
behind
ever.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, he's always behind Jerry Rice. We can set that straight now. He has the third most touchdown receptions behind Moss and Rice, and he's the top 10 in receptions in general. That's first ballot right there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what he did off the field, which wasn't that bad at all. Wasn't murdering somebody.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they held him out it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I completely agree. And not just because I'm a 49er fan and loved what Terrell did here in San Francisco, but even what he did in Dallas, and he helped the Eagles go all the way to the Super Bowl. He played with a broken leg in the Super Bowl and still was fantastic. This guy, if you take his his diva attitude out, which was, kind of par for the course in his era of wide receivers. I mean, you had Randy Moss, you had Terrell Owens, you had all these guys that had huge personalities, and you can even throw Michael Irvin in there, who was very outspoken against Terrell this week.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, come on, Michael Irvin. Like, you kind of have to get the skeletons out of your own closet if you're going to start talking about somebody else and their skeletons.
Yeah.
I mean, cocaine and prostitutes in your hotel room is kind of a big deal. It's a lot bigger of a deal than eating popcorn and signing footballs as a touchdown celebration, in my opinion.
Yeah, or going, I think at one point he got down on one knee in front of a cheerleader or something after a touchdown. It's like all these are fun and games. He's not really doing anything bad off of the field, and it's just the fact that they're not even going to cover him in Canton is just, it's messed up because he wants to celebrate what he deserves somewhere else with the people that he loves, and I completely respect that. Yeah. I think that is more than reasonable. And the fact that you're not going to cover him because he's not going to be there.
Yeah, and then not even actually acknowledge him in the ceremony. Like, I guess I heard that his name will be on the pamphlet that they hand out, that coming up. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is crazy. I actually think at the end of the day, I think he will show up in Canton. I think all of this kind of attention is, it's so negative that I think he will show up to the Hall of Fame ceremony, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that's going to do it for this segment. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk Major League Baseball and kind of what's going on there, what's going on with the All-Star Game, a little bit about A's and Giants, and how baseball can attract more younger viewers in their audience, as well as a little bit of World Cup news and our favorite segment, Winners and Losers, right when we return. Welcome back to Steven and Andy, or Andy and Steven. Major League Baseball. Andy, did you watch the All-Star Game?
No. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
It doesn't.
There's no reason to watch the All-Star Game. There's no reason to watch the Home Run Derby. Like we were talking earlier, for something that they could add to the Home Run Derby, if they added the best home run hitter from every team in the league, that would give incentives for every fan base to watch the game. And personally, to me, that would be so awesome to see Chris Davis or Matt Olson go up there and just play amongst the best and see who's the best home run hitter, but they don't do that.
You know what I'd love to see, not to cut you off? Madison Bumgarner.
That would be cool.
Derby. I mean, that right there would draw other fans
so
to actually
many
watch.
Viewers.
Pitchers who rake. That would be amazing.
So cool, but they can barely get guys to fill the home run derby now. They had to beg Bryce Harper to do it, and it's just like it's not interesting anymore.
It isn't, and my guy from the Giants that was representing San Francisco in the All-Star game. I mean, he didn't even field a ground ball. Like it was, there's so much that doesn't happen in these games that for you to tune in and watch your guy from your team or your favorite player play an inning, maybe 2 innings, get 1 or 2 at bats. Yeah. I mean, he struck out the first time swinging. Yeah, okay, that happens. His second at bat, I mean, the pitch was 4 or 5 inches off the plate and he got called strike 3. Like, come on. Like, you know what? I seen that on Twitter. And that was all I needed to see from the All-Star Game as far as I'm concerned. And, I did happen to tune in last night by accident because I seen Big Bang Theory on the guide. And I clicked it because I was all excited to watch it. And lo and behold, it's the 10th inning of the All-Star Game. And I was like, gosh darn it.
I would rather watch, Big Bang Theory. But when they had something to play for, when it was World Series implications at stake, that's a big deal. That made me
Yeah.
tune in to watch even when the A's sucked all the time. Because I'm like, hey, maybe the American League will get home field advantage. So with them cutting that out, also them doing the 3 minutes for the home run derby
timing it,
instead of the 10 outs, it's just they're changing so many things for not the best of baseball, I believe.
Yeah. So you and I are both avid baseball fans, but you are of the millennial generation, and I really think that Major League Baseball is trying to attract more in your age group to become fans of the game, and so more people to watch it and from the younger demographic. And I think that's where a lot of these changes are coming from. So what do you think baseball could do to help draw those in from your age group?
I think the biggest thing that they could do is implement the designated hitter in each league. They've been talking about it a lot, and it's starting to grow on the players in the league. But if you have a designated hitter on both teams, or in both leagues, that just adds so many more runs, so much more offensive power, which is why people watch baseball.
So, not to cut you off, but to that point, there's a stat out there right now that 1,000 less balls will be put into play this year because it's all home runs and all strikeouts than compared to 2009. So there's just not as much offensive action. Players are standing out in the outfield and trying to keep themselves focused in between pitches when they're not getting any action out there. And, a lot of people are blaming it on the shift, but I think millennials don't care about DH. Most millennials don't even know what the DH is.
Yeah.
Like, baseball needs to draw them in some way. And I'm at a loss because I don't really understand what Fred Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, could do to help draw in a younger audience. There's talk about, Little League losing participation because just baseball's not that appealing to kids anymore. There's also talk about, advertising and how, most the best players in Major League Baseball are unrecognizable to the casual fan if they were to pass them on the street. There's a story from the All-Star game where an Uber driver gave Mike Trout a ride, and he didn't even know who Mike Trout was. And it showed up on his Uber
How
screen.
cool was that for Mike Trout?
Yeah.
That must have been awesome.
Oh, I would have been irritated as all. Like, you don't know who I am. I'm Mike Trout.
I'm Mike Trout, dude.
Yeah, but in LA, nobody really cares about the Angels, so maybe that plays a part into it too. But baseball is definitely struggling right now, I think, amongst the younger audience. And there's so many nuances to baseball. I was taught the game at a really early age. I'm so engaged when I watch. I can sit there and bake in the sun for a full 9 innings and know everything that's going on and listen to the radio on my earpiece because I'm that in tuned. But I think there's just a lot of audience and a short attention span that when there's not much action in the game, there's just not much being drawn in.
Baseball is a slow game.
It is.
And it's like all the others, like golf, they're slow games. That's what they are. They're not fast.
Yeah.
So, and this is a generation, like you said, with short attention spans. But there's not much you can really change without drastically affecting the game.
And there's a lot of people that won't let that happen.
Exactly. And so I don't think they do much. I think the DH is probably as big as it gets for now. But like they now have a pitch clock. They now have a certain amount of
Pitch
mound.
clock in the minors. It hasn't made it to the
It hasn't
majors
made it yet?
No, but they have mound visits.
They have a certain amount of mound visits. They have. I think it's weird that they replay now. I don't necessarily like that. I feel like that changes the game a lot, but I could see how it also you could gain from it too. So I see there's wins and losses there.
Yeah, I think maybe putting a time clock on the replay review.
That
and
would be
shortening
nice.
it. But I do like the replay because I would rather them get it right than decide a game on a missed call. It's bad enough sometimes that, strikes are miscalled and that changes the outcome of a game. But if, you got someone going into home or someone going to first, I'm okay with them reviewing it. That's one of the changes they've made that I actually don't mind, that I think is actually benefiting the game. But, as far as, attention spans and all that, there's really nothing you can do.
You can't do anything about it.
I know the Giants and here in the Bay Area, we're very fortunate that our teams are actually really engaging to the entire population. In San Francisco, not a lot of people know that on Sunday day games, a lot of families go. Why? Because kids actually get to round the bases after the game. And unless you're a Giants fan, nobody knows that. And that's one way that the Giants try to attract younger players. They also have the Junior Giants program, which maybe if other teams implemented like a junior Little League program to help benefit those that maybe wouldn't get a chance to play baseball. So the Junior Giants actually has a glove drive where you turn in a new glove or a gently used glove to the Junior Giants. You get a fan pin, or they give you something in return, and that's really cool. Or if you donate to Junior Giants, they'll sometimes at certain levels they'll give you a bobblehead, or there's certain incentives for you to donate money to their program. And I think that's huge outreach for kids, and maybe other teams around the league can kind of take note of that and maybe implement their own programs.
Yeah.
So that's baseball. Let's talk a little World Cup. So in the semis, I called France winning. Nobody seemed to care or really listen to me because nobody thought France was going to win. Did you watch the final game?
I did watch the final game. I actually woke up.
Final match. I
woke up extra early, got down there, and watched the game. And that game, it was 4-2, but it played like it was 2-2. And personally, France got so lucky, in my opinion. The first goal that France got was not even a good goal for France. The goalie for Croatia, in my opinion, just ruined the game for them. There was a lot of plays that he was out of position, both in the Pogba goal and the Mbappe goal. He was out of position, which screwed them over tremendously. And Croatia dominated the game. They dominated. But it makes me so much more sad because this was the year for Croatia.
Yeah.
That's a country with 4 million people. And they had, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all-stars on that team, all over the age of 29. So they can't do it again in 4 years.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, and France, on the other hand, has their 3 stars who are all under the age of 27. So they could do it again. So it was interesting.
See, to me, it played more like a 4-1 game, but France's goalie dribbled the ball forward for Croatia and just allowed him to tap it in. I did notice, though, a lot of fouls were not getting called on Croatia. Croatia was very physical, and they were really trying to impose their dominance on France. And there's a lot of things that were getting missed. In fact, I even seen some of the offensive players for Croatia actually walk away from the ball because they knew they committed a foul, and the refs didn't call anything. And so they're like, oh, wait, let me go back. Oh, okay. Oh, no whistle. Oh, okay. And so there's, but I definitely agree. Croatia was more aggressive, and I think they had more to play for. There's just, I don't know, maybe not more to play for, but they were stronger and more aggressive throughout the entire match.
Yeah, and I also will go out to say it that France did not deserve that penalty kick. So, yeah, should have been 2-1 Croatia, but we can move on from that.
All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about winners and losers. So let's start with the NBA. Who right now is winning in the NBA?
Winners, obviously, hometown Warriors. I think... We talked about this earlier. I think the Lakers are big winners because they went from nothing to something in this offseason. And according to their 3-year or 2-year master plan that they have, they should be even more winners to come.
See, I kind of disagree because, yes, they improved. They got LeBron James. LeBron James is also 34 years old. But basically, I hear my producer in my ear right now booing me. Sorry, Poff. So I actually... They need another piece. They need another piece to fall. What that piece is, maybe that could be, and that would definitely make them winners this offseason. I think they're half winners because right now they're kind of looking like the Cavs of the East. I mean, there were 12 games last year out of the 8th seed. 12 games out of the 8th seed. Maybe with the addition of an aging LeBron, what are they going to get, the 7th seed?
I think Lance brings them up a little bit. But like you said though, they're better than they were last year, so I think they're winners. I think that Toronto is a winner with this trade.
If they're able to keep Kawhi, or if depending on if they move Kawhi or not.
I think the Spurs they did a decent job with the trade as well, getting a first rounder and DeMar.
And with Popovich at the helm, I mean they're always going to be in the mix. They're always going to be a winner in some way. Now, are they going to make it to the conference finals? Probably not. But at least they'll probably be in the playoffs. Like last year looked like they're going to be the first time in 20 years they weren't going to make the playoffs, and they just kind of they didn't have Kawhi. They didn't have their best player.
I think another winner are both Boston and Philadelphia. I think that's the two best young cores in the league.
They definitely won when LeBron left the East.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because now these teams can grow without that one daunting monster in the back of their head. So now they can grow, and both of them can easily be Eastern Conference Finals contenders.
All right, Major League Baseball. Right now, we're during the All-Star break. The All-Star game was last night. Home Run Derby on Monday. You think Major League Baseball is winning or losing?
I think they're losing.
Yeah.
I think they're losing because that was just not. The games mean nothing anymore. The A's are winning, though, because they're up 2-1 on the Giants in the series right now. Had to throw that in.
There you go.
But they also do have the 5th best record in the league, which is awesome.
But 3 of those 5 best are in their division.
Okay, yeah. But they're 3 games out of the wild card. So there's a lot of room to grow. And I know we talked in the first Andy and Steven show about who would end with the better record.
Oh, not the better record, but who would make the playoffs? Because, of course, the A's are going to win with the better record. They're going to end the season with the better record, but they might not even make the playoffs.
He says this now, but we can go back and check.
The Giants are in contention still, and the Giants have yet to play a single game this year at full strength. I mean, they've been marred by injuries since spring training. Like, they have not played a single game at full strength. And now they're starting to get all their players back. Everybody's going to come back. They've got a little bit of momentum. The first weekend of the Babe Ridge series of this past weekend, I was out there on Sunday. The A's are up 2-1, and the A's did look pretty strong. But going into this weekend, anything can happen. I mean, Friday night I think will be a deciding factor in who wins the series.
I think that's a big deal. But how did you like that Mark Canna bat flip?
You know what? Honestly, it was such a non-bat flip to me. I actually thought he got underneath it, and it looked like a disgusted I popped it up bat flip. Like, you could see other players take it and go like this.
That's why I was confused that people were actually upset about it. It was so nonchalant. I mean, he did yell like, "This is my house," but he's a Bay Area native.
He is, and he was like, you know what? The emotions got the best of me. And he actually said, "This is my bleeping house," and it's not. I mean, this is the first time you've ever hit in this ballpark? Like, maybe not the first time, but I might be exaggerating. But I mean, it's okay to have emotion. It was a big home run for the game. The bat flip, I don't care about. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I honestly don't think any of the Giants pitchers are going to take anything out on him. There's going to be no code red. He did apologize because it's definitely not his house.
He didn't apologize. No, he said, "I'm really not sorry."
No, about the bat flip.
Oh.
He apologized for what he said. He's like, "But I grew up in San Mateo." He was like, "I grew up coming and watching the Giants." He went to Cal. And he was like, because I watched the post game, he's like, "I am sorry for calling it my house." And then the media is great.
And he's like, "I'm not really sorry."
But he's not really sorry about the bat flip.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about, was the bat flip. But he was sorry about calling it his house. This is not his house. I mean, come on. You played 3 games in this park, and that's all of a sudden your house.
He's not an all-star.
It's Barry's house. I mean, why don't you hit it into the water, and then maybe you can call it your house. But it was a great home run, and it did. I mean, was it 440 feet or something like that?
It was long.
Yeah. So I have no problem. So Canna's winning. Right now the A's are winning. Definitely, I'm actually, because I'm a fan of both teams. The Giants are my actual team, but I do like to see the A's do well. I think it's great for the Bay Area when they're competitive.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they don't trade Jed Lowry and that if he's an all-star. Like,
I actually don't see the A's making any moves except if they're buyers.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not, because they can definitely make a push here in the second half of this season for the playoffs. So yeah, winners and losers. World Cup, France winning, Croatia losing. I think moving forward, I think Croatia is definitely the loser moving forward because I don't see them making another push like this in the World Cup. Also winning, France, having such a multicultural team. Like
Yes.
a lot of African players, and it was something that actually a lot of people here in the United States took note of because, you don't see sometimes a lot of diversity in sports here in this country, especially in Major League Baseball, where I think it's down to 7% African American players in baseball.
Yeah.
So to see that many Africans on the team for France, I think was a big deal. So that's winning all the way around. I also seen one of the French players give a shout out to Bay Area rap legend E40 and actually rap some of his lyrics in
I
a
did
Twitter
not see
video.
that. That is awesome.
Amazing. So definitely winning on all fronts there for Team France.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for our time here on the Steven and Andy or Andy and Steven show.
That's the better one.
I'm
it
Steven.
flows off the tongue just so much better.
I'm Steven Babb. This is Andy Chase. Tune in next time. Thank you for joining us.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
Nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
on-the-job training is huge.
Get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So.
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Stand by. We're going to go to cut one.
Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three. It is good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock. Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots ever.
The sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.